We're starting right now. We're live. You may notice Simon is not here. He's with us in spirit. He's with a friend in England. And I imagine he's enjoying himself. Way to go, Simon. In the meantime, Dean is restarting. Dean can hear us, but we can't hear Dean. So hopefully it's something minor. Hello, Emily Maitland. And hello, Mr. Cordyceps. And old Nicholas. And Gabriel. So, what was that? Oh, I don't know. Some pop-up. So I'm doing the talking. For a little while anyways. Let's have some coffee here. Oh, poor Frederick. Oh, Mr. Cordyceps too. And hello, Aaron. They all got commercials.
Gotta love that.
Yeah. Well, gives about half a cent for a while. Hello, Caleb. Help.
Well, no, you should be able to hear me, Cordy.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just the only one talking.
Mm-hmm.
So Simon's with us in comments. We're pretty good, Emily. How are you?
Howdy, Simon.
Now, many of you know FreeStyle Fox. I would hope. Now, anyone that's hung around in our after show does. And hello, Daniel. How are you today? But Dale is embarking on an adventure and a venture at the same time. So you're a certified firewalk instructor.
Yep, I got my certification in May this year, and I'm actually about ready to go to another training event here next week. So, furthering my education.
Oh, okay. Very good. Now I know who is that. Yeah. You have a walk coming up?
I have a walk coming up on September 24th, which is one of the ones I am personally leading, and then I've got, like I said, another training next week where 3 days in a row I'll be walking across the hot coals as well as learning other empowerment things to do in seminars and stuff like that that I haven't already learned. So,
yeah, I think we need to empower Dean's computer to work.
That might be a little bit beyond my realms of possibility.
Yeah. I might be able to do something. Yeah, that's the frustrating thing when the computer is all the way in Australia, and I'm not. And I'm thinking, it shouldn't be that difficult. And you know, Dean knows how to set it up, but his computer seems to reconfigure itself given the chance, which I guess is, you know, you turn your back on it and it's going to reconfigure itself. Seems to be what's happening.
Well.
Wow, we can hear you.
I was just about to start swearing because I didn't see my little green dots.
Oh.
Hello,
Welcome,
everyone.
Dean.
We were just speculating.
Awesome. The speculum.
Speculating.
Oh, speculating. Oh, sorry.
Not that other thing. No. What? Farfetch.
Bright shiny thing on the computer.
I saw something about Pokemon Go that Daniel caught something with an unusual name. Well, unusual to me. I haven't. Of course, I haven't played that game. not to be a sport.
I
It's not for me. It's probably fun.
it is.
Um, I see enough shinies as it is when I'm trying to, get other things done. So I think it would just distract me from other things.
So I'm easily distracted.
But it gives you something to do too. I mean, I have enough stuff to do. I have a lot of things to do that I should be doing that I'm not. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Reading is the big one.
Being
Yeah, I should
easily
be reading more.
distracted is a thing.
Like at work, I'm just. Yeah, now that I discovered people can hear me when I'm talking, because sometimes I talk when I'm talking to myself at work or thinking out loud. I sometimes do it. I sometimes get emotional while I'm doing it, telling you what I'm thinking about or talking about, and they think I'm talking to them. One guy freaked out the other day. He was like pounding on the door, and I didn't really realize anyone was pounding on the door at first because I was so caught up in my own conversation. I'm just sitting at the station. Wait, someone pounding at the door. What's all that screaming? What's going on? It was a little weird. It's just something that I try to keep in mind, but once I get going, I forget about it and just launch into my, or whatever it is we're talking about, which quite often has nothing to do with work.
Oops. There's my creaky chair going again.
Yeah, well, at least we can hear it.
Yeah.
Oh, did I?
Sorry, you were saying? I don't know.
Oh, I'm just sort of rambling. I guess, Dale, you already have the comments open. I saw that. Unartig. Hello, Unartig. And
I can't open my comments. Well, I probably could, but I'm too scared to.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to open the whole
page.
You could open the mini pop-up window. You could try that.
Yeah, I did have the pop-up open before.
But you restarted. I put the link to it. Right.
Oh, there it is. Okay. I shall. Okay. I'll endeavour. If I disappear again, it's not my fault. It's Robert's. There we go. And am I frozen over here? No, I'm not.
Oh.
This is looking promising. Nothing's happening on the other tab. Okay, oh, now it is. Awesome, awesome. How do I pop that out? I'll pop it out like that. No. Oh, it just popped out. I get you.
Oh, yeah, because I shared the link just to the little pop-out window. So hopefully...
Yeah. I get you. I'll open it in a new window. Hopefully that won't crash everything. And awesome.
My brother's well, that's, I don't know if you've been noticing, he's walking. He plays Pokemon while he goes on his walks. He's working out now. Today so far he's done 15 kilometers. He's been out there for 2 hours and 25 minutes, average pace of 9:41 a kilometer. Talked about that. It's a good thing, but too much too soon is.
Yeah, that's.
I mean, he's been doing it for a while now, but I do the same thing, but I don't. I learned, like when working out, what's enough for me, which isn't too much actually, as far as because of muscle memory, because I already did it. But he has Yeah, unless he's planning on entering some 10Ks in the future, or half marathon or marathon. Whatever. I'll have to ask him.
I believe a half marathon is
21K.
24. Yeah. So,
Yeah. But that's long. When I used to jog. Once we jogged 14 kilometers and we changed the route and it was mostly uphill, which was hard to do, but we managed that. And we said, you know what are we doing this for? Let's go back to doing our 6Ks a week and 10K on the weekend and just relax. So we did.
because endurance can be a thing.
It can be.
A few years ago, I did parkour and free running, and got to the point where I was a coach, where I taught parkour and free running. So, went through the whole thing, including overtraining and developing tendonitis, whole 9 yards. What I'm doing now is, in my opinion, safer. And I'm not waking up sore just about every single day, which is a beautiful thing, because I didn't realize how much I didn't like being sore. I had it in my fool's head that waking up hurting from working out was fun and a good thing, which it can be,
Yeah,
but it hurts.
Yeah.
And you don't realize it at the time, but it does.
Yeah, that's very intensive, what you were doing.
hmm Not that what I'm doing is any less intense, I guess, just mentally intense instead of the physically.
Yeah, when we used to jog, we were just that's the only time I would see my friend when we used to do it. So we would talk. We would run at a pace where we could chat. But gradually that pace got faster and faster and faster.
And then people are wondering how you're going at a full-out jog/run, and you're still holding a conversation. No, it's one of the best ways to go about it, then, because it means that you're oxygenating the blood that much more efficiently. Because if you're striving to try and get that oxygen to your muscles, you're not going to. It's going to be really hard for you to talk. Whereas if you're doing it efficiently, you have it to spare. So.
I can walk to the letterbox without puffing.
Yeah, that's about what it's right.
Well, as long as I don't take it too heavy, it's just letters, I'm okay.
I noticed as if I do my little workout in the morning, climbing those stairs in the afternoon or the escalator, whatever. I mean, I can run up the escalator or the stairs, but I'll pay the price once I get outside. I won't do that. I refuse to do that, but I'll be like very quiet because I'm trying to breathe quietly at the same time taking a great volume of air.
So, have you ever made the walk to your mailbox barefooted, Dean, during the summer?
Yes.
Yeah.
I have. Yeah, in Australia, it's quite hot on the feet. I don't wear shoes all that often, actually. I'd prefer to not wear them. Like, if I go out, obviously I'll wear them, but as soon as I'm home, I strip off into comfy clothes and thongs or bare feet.
Yeah, I can understand that completely. So the coals we tend to walk across get up to about 649 degrees Celsius. If that gives you an idea of how hot what we're walking across. And for those that do Fahrenheit, that's 1,200 degrees Fahrenheit.
That's probably about the same as what an Australian road is during summer. No.
If it's that hot, it's melting the pavement back down.
Yeah, sometimes the tar does melt. Not so much where I am, obviously, but out in the outback areas and that where it gets hotter.
Outback and badland areas, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, firewalking. Wow, I always thought I'd like to try it when I was younger, but now with my arthritis and that, I would fall over and I'd be a roast long pig within 5 minutes, I suppose. But
balance can be a thing, but there are some things we do to help with balance, especially like we'll tap down the coals to make it so it's more flat, even surface. My job mainly is to know how to set everything up safely and to facilitate it in a way that risks are, because it's risky. You're walking on coals.
yeah.
But so the risks are minimized, so we can facilitate this experience. One of the things we're often fond of saying is, we're not the teacher, the fire's the teacher. And in all honesty, if you think anything else, you're kind of diluting, no, not diluting, you're humoring yourself. It's, one of the things I like to say is, years from now, you will have forgotten everything I tell you right now, but you will remember walking across these coals. And they will.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Well, it sounds like you're doing a way better job than Tony Robbins did, because apparently
Tony,
Tony Robbins the other week, I read on saw it on Twitter or somewhere that a bunch of people got burnt because the surface was uneven or something like that. Anyway,
so funny story about Tony Robbins. He's had this happen before, and usually it's before something big's going on in his life. So it's debatable about whether or not it was pre-planned. So I'm not going to get into that aspect. But what I want to focus on is that there were 7,000 people at his seminar. They had something like 12 to 13 people that they said seeked help, that got burnt.
Yeah.
And then they're saying that 3 of those sought help, medical attention that wasn't able to be provided on site. If you break that down, that is something like a 99.56% success rate of people at that seminar walking across the coals and not getting burned.
Yeah.
That is really good odds. Really good odds.
Yeah.
So, oh my God, dozens of people got burnt out of 7,000.
Somebody got a singed fingernail or toenail or something.
Yeah, or coal got stuck between their toes and it's hot, and then it's just. We've all had that rock or something get stuck between our toes, and no matter how much we shake it, it doesn't come out. Imagine if that's a hot coal. It stings a little. I've had it happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we aren't used to getting burns on our feet. We get a small little burn on our hands, we barely even feel it. How often do we get burned on the feet? We step on something that's a little warm, like a penny that's on the sidewalk that's been out there all day. We're jumped like a foot in the air.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Definitely. No, I think it's a good, interesting. And as I said, I thought when I was younger that I never got around to it, obviously, but I would have liked to have tried it. But I think that ship has passed me by anyway. But
it may have or it may not have. So if you find yourself in a position where you can go to a walk, do it. Sign the waiver. And then go listen to everything they have to say, and then stand in line and put yourself in front of the coals. And if you decide it's your time to walk when you're in front of the coals, then walk. If you're just like, nope, I'm good, nobody's going to shame you or go, you didn't do it. Then don't. It's walking across coals. A lot of people think, oh, well, if I sign the waiver and I get in line, then I'll have to do it. No, you don't. No, you don't.
Mm.
Heck, you could take one step on the coals and go, nope, F this, I'm out. And you just step to the side and go, okay, I'm good. Then, you take that
I
first
did what I
step
came for.
on it, so, I mean,
Yeah.
even if you take that first step, you're still walking on coals. You did something extremely rare, being willing to take that first step. Throughout life, we all have all these different goals and challenges, and sometimes taking that first step's the hardest part. And sometimes we take that first step and we realize it's not for us, or it's, a little bit harder than expected, and we have to jump off and take a step back and reevaluate what it is we're doing. So.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Oh, I don't know. I'll look into it.
Oh, I know you
Again.
can do it.
Well,
I know you'd be able to.
As long as I don't singe my beard, I don't care. That's okay.
Yeah, no, I tend to do that more with fire eating and fire spinning when I had a beard. Matter of fact, I could fire eat and not singe my beard at all, and then I'd go to spin something like a staff, and then I'd singe it really bad. Explain that one. I'm putting fire into my mouth, and I'm not burning a beard, and then I pick up something that I can hold away from me, and I'm burning it. Never did figure that one out.
I did a very. I learned to juggle at the same time, and fire breathe. It was interesting. It was fun. No, I didn't. Well, like I only got
balls.
3. I can't do anything more than 3. But yeah, I must admit it was a fun experience.
Oh, yeah.
But I didn't have a beard at the time, so I didn't catch anything on fire.
I'm allergic to liquid paraffin, which is what we're using more in the fire community these days instead of Caro, because it's if you can get Caro and pure like jet fuel quality Caro, people still use the kerosene, but it's more in other places where getting lamp oil is harder because ultra pure lamp oil has, once again, the really high flash point, and it's really hard to soak even your clothing in it and get it to catch fire unless it's absurdly hot. So from a safety standpoint, that's a thing. And I haven't learned how to fire breathe because I get chemical burns from lamp oil. So
I did it there, and I think I did it once more at a party when I was in my early 20s, but I hated the taste of the shit, so I never kept it. I just didn't keep doing it. It was now I just entertain my grandkids with juggling.
Be glad you got out of fire breathing when you did. Fire breathing's one of those things where if you're going to do it, you have to be willing to accept all the risks, and the risks with it are higher than anything else you could do involving fire. You can do everything right and still get chemical pneumonia and die.
Ooh, yeah. Chemical pneumonia sucks. I had that.
So.
And I almost died.
There are stories out there of people who fire breathe and inhale at the wrong time and know that they're going to get chemical pneumonia. They can feel the onset of it. They go to the hospital, and the hospital take the x-rays and it says everything, no, you're fine. And the people sat there and tried to argue, no, I'm not. I need to be here. You need to keep me under observation. They send the people home, and about 4 to 6 hours later, they're back in the hospital and then in a coma for like 3 days. So
bad stuff.
No, it's. I mean, the first thing people think of is that you're going to set yourself on fire, but you're fire breathing. That's kind of a given. It's all the other risks that. And it's addicting. It really is addicting for people. And there are people that learn it for a safety standpoint because they're going to be safety people that are fire breathers. And they're like, it's too much risk. I'm not going to do it. I'm only learning it so I can take care of people who do it. And then they realize for them fire breathing is the best thing ever, and it has that addictive quality to it.
Oh, there's definitely a feeling of power with it, I think. You know, uh, I'm just a craven coward, so I didn't get into it that much. But yeah, the whole yeah, it's definitely, there would definitely be that aspect of it. I could easily see how it would be an addictive experience.
Yeah, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when with something that has that high of a risk factor. So the fact that you did it a couple of times and you're like, you know what, I've done it, I'm good,
Yeah.
and then walked away from it. Here in the States, we're having an issue of people who should be professionally trained that are marketing themselves as professionally trained and booking professional gigs that are using white gas and stuff like that. And you hear about Florida Man. Florida Man is the most adventurous, crazy person in the world, by the way. Whenever there's a headline from Florida, it's Florida Man blank. And this is even within Florida. But you hear stories about them, and yeah, no, you people not using the correct fuels, and you hear about other people getting hurt, or the people who are breathing getting burnt, and anymore it's a first thing of, well, do we know what fuel they are using? That is the first question whenever there's an accident with it within the community. What fuel were they using? And 99%, it's not the proper fuel. Things went wrong. They were using something with a low flash point, and the fire jumped back and caught them on fire. That is what it amounts to. Them or their surroundings. So.
Yeah. Oh, there's plenty of videos on YouTube about the. Oh, there was some dude breathing fire, and he just went up like a bloody candle. I can't remember what it was called. Anyway, it's on YouTube. But yeah, I'm glad that I didn't continue with it, to be honest.
Yeah. Now, see, and that's why you use something like a lamp oil or an oil-based fuel or kerosene, because it's a lot harder to go up like a torch, even if you're soaked in the stuff.
Yeah, we use kerosene.
Good.
Back in the day.
That makes me happy, because I've heard of a lot of people where they're just like, yeah, we used gas, or no, we used alcohol, and I'm just I hear Caro or lamp oil, and I'm just like, good, you had somebody show you who didn't want to kill you.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, although they were. Sorry, go on.
No, I have a friend that teaches fire breathing. Actually, I have several friends who teach fire breathing. And usually one of the first questions they ask you when you go to their classes, are you prepared to die? Because this will kill you. Like, one of my friends always tries to completely discourage other people from learning it. And if they still are set on learning, he'll teach them because he wants them to learn right and doesn't want to see them get hurt. So...
Yeah. Yeah, the whole it was the who was it? It was in the 80s, Firefly Circus, I think, in Australia.
Oh, Shade Flame Water. Are you
Sorry?
talking about Shade?
I can't remember. Yeah, it was.
I know the troop you're talking about.
Yeah, they just did a. It was a. Yeah, it was just for people who wanted to come along, and they did it in the 80s. I think. What was it? Yeah, how old was I? 22. So 51 down. That would have been 80. Well, I don't know. I'm not good with math. Anyway, yeah, they came around, and it was put on through. I'm pretty sure it was the Firefly Circus. I'll have to look it up. I can't remember, but yeah, it was interesting. It was fun.
So,
was great.
Nandemo guy. We walk on a bed of coals, but there are several different ways to walk on fire. The way I was trained was how to prep and set up a bed of coals. It still gets up to about 649 degrees Celsius, so it's still extremely hot. If you were to put Caro on that bed of coals, the Caro would instantly ignite, for example. It is still stupid hot. But there are also ways that you can walk across the actual fire and things therein. There is a way you can walk across the freshly cooled lava. There are many different ways to do it, and many different ways that different cultures have walked across fire. One of the ones in Japan is Buddhist temple has a fire walking ceremony every year, and they set up logs, and they put it across the bed of coals, and there's fire that comes up in between the logs, and they're walking across the top of the logs. So, which to me sounds a whole lot more scary than walking on top of the coals, because I know how hot the flames can be in general too, or how fast the gas that's on fire can burn you versus how fast the coals can. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. I like walking across fire and across coals, Wasabi. I've been doing it since 2012. So,
Hmm. Well, walking across it is better than walking through it,
yeah.
having a cord on you.
Yeah. There's the walking across the cooled lava is a Hawaiian thing. There once was a couple of high up chiefs. They needed a new big kahuna, and they were having a really intense debate, and one of the spiritual leaders came up them and sent them out to go out and read the lava flows to settle the dispute. Go out and read the lava flows, and whoever can walk across the lava unharmed is the new big kahuna. And that tradition stayed in Hawaii for quite a while.
Hmm.
And demo guy, you talk about hot ember shower. There is the Kung tribe in Africa. They build up really deep beds of coals out there. And they have several different firewalking traditions, but they go out there and build really big beds of coals and then raise their energy absurdly high, and then will go out and they'll pick up coals and they'll start rubbing them all over their body, and then they'll go up to the bed of coals and then they'll start swimming through it. So, I haven't done that yet.
Hmm.
Emphasis on yet.
Hmm.
Yeah, no, I don't think I'd.
Well,
Yeah,
that's one way to remove the excess hair from your body.
A lot cheaper than razor blades.
Or waxing.
Yeah, ow.
So I'm just looking up this thing. I can't find it. I don't know whether they're in existence anymore.
Oh, and let's see. Also, this weekend is Caravana. Seems like it was only yesterday, but it was last year. But it's back. And that means Dave is coming to Toronto. That's Federal 51. So hopefully, if the stars align correctly, Dave will be meeting Dave. Sarah and I will be meeting Dave for a little dinner tonight, like we did last year.
Nice.
Which we meet him Sunday night, but that'll be cool. Yes, Dave was the very first YouTuber I ever met that I was following and watching. And that was a while ago now.
Hey, Mata, waxing might not hurt, but I'd still rather walk across fire or eat it. Just saying. I'm a hairy man. No way am I doing that. Nope.
Damn it.
I gotta draw the line somewhere, and the line is drawn between firewalking and waxing. No waxing.
Yeah. I just had a look. All I could find was circus swords. I don't know. Maybe I dreamt it.
One of the best fire eaters currently in the world is a guy by the name of Shade Flamewater, I believe. And
Okay.
he's from Australia. And he's been on tour pretty much all year. And a good 4 months of it has been here in the U.S., if not more. I'm trying to get him to come to my firewalk in September. Mainly so I can pick his brain.
Yeah. Sounds interesting. Yeah, there was just looking at this thing. It was either the Firefly or Circus Oz or a subsidiary. I don't bloody know.
Or it could be
Hasn't got all the answers apparently.
Sometimes a lot of people aren't on the net anymore, or to begin with too. A lot of business is brought in for these guys, mainly through word of mouth, because you need people with, for lack of a better term, deep pockets. As a fire performer, I charge anywhere between $100 and $320 an hour. And
Yeah.
the $100 an hour is if I know the person personally and they're my friend.
Oh, okay.
So it's and it's not cheap. The most I've been paid was about $80 for 15 minutes worth of work.
Oh, wow.
That being said, there's a lot more work that goes into it beforehand and a lot of investment in our props. But the actual, what people see as working, the actual gig was about 15 minutes worth of work on my end.
Yeah.
That being said, firewalking per person runs anywhere between about $50 to $200 per person.
Hello, Phyllis. Phyllis wants to know if you walk on fire in the nude for that price.
I haven't done firewalking as a performance, but if somebody was paying me enough, now see, somebody paying for a firewalking performance is a bit ridiculous. That would cost for a performance. I'd say just for the firewalk, I would charge probably between, depending on where I was setting up the firewalk, just for that would probably be around between $400 and $1,000. And that's before we start adding in gimmicks like nude firewalkers. So, if firewalking is not a cheap practice at all, you have the wood, the fuel, the tools, the time, the training. There's a lot that goes into it before you're even walking across the coals. So, I've got, sitting here right next to me, notes. So, I mean, that's from 3 days, and I'm going to have another 6 days worth of notes here soon as well. Material costs can run anywhere. For my first firewalk I led myself, material cost wise, if I were to do it again, would probably be around 300 alone, maybe something like that, maybe a bit more, maybe a bit less, depending on what I could find the wood for. So it's also the time, the pain of other people to be there because you can't do it yourself, stuff like that as well. So it's
Does the choice of wood, like, does that I don't even know if this is a valid question. The choice of wood, does that affect the temperature or the heat that's given off?
Very good question, and yes, it does. Your hardwoods are going to burn hotter and make us are going to burn hotter, going to retain that heat and energy a lot longer, and then the coal is going to be more like gravel. With the wood we tend to use, it's typically cedar, and it feels like you're walking across popcorn. And that's because if you've ever taken a cedar coal, like after it's cooled down, of course, and you take it and you squeeze it,
Yeah.
it crumbles. And so if you imagine walking across something that's crumbling, it's going to help distribute that pressure and heat evenly as you're walking across it, whereas if you take something like an oak coal or an ash coal afterwards, or even your fruit trees like your pear, peach, lemon, and you go to crush it afterwards, it's like a rock. It's a very dense wood. And because of its density and because of all that, it's going to burn hotter and keep hotter. We lay down a bed of cedar coals that's ready for people to walk on in about a minute. We lay down a bed of hardwood coals, like oak. You send people out to go and get up their energy, and in about 15 minutes, that bed of coals is ready for them to walk on. 1 minute to be ready to walk on, 15 minutes to be ready to walk on. The wood makes a huge difference.
Cool.
Cedar smells so nice.
Smart question for a change.
Yeah, no, it's a very good question. That's knowing the wood is a huge part. Especially say if I were to be to travel to Japan, Australia, Hawaii, I may not be able to get the wood I need. So,
Yeah.
congratulations, there's a wood I don't know that's probably a tropical wood. How's it going to behave, and will it even work? My job before that would be to make a test fire and find out. So, every single type of wood that we use, we know how it's going to react and behave, simply because either we've used it several times, or we found out by doing.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's one wood in Australia that you probably want to stay right away from, and that's mallee roots. They last for hours and hours and hours.
Yeah, I wonder how the Japanese cedar trees would burn for you.
I bet you it'd work perfectly. Just about every single cedar seems to work great, from what I've heard.
Have a lot of cedar trees in Japan.
One of what we really try to avoid is stuff like sapwoods, because even if they've set and aged for years at times, you'll go to light them on fire and they'll still be bubbly and sappy. And so you get a coal that is sappy, and they will stick to your feet. And then you wind up in trouble.
Jesus.
So,
Yeah, that would not be fun.
no, it wouldn't. So.
Oh boy, what have we got in comments? Yeah, me too. Yeah, Phyllis is right. I see Kurt. I reckon he'd be a good guy.
I know several women who firewalk. Actually, a blue-eyed Sin. I went through my training with several of them. I think there are just as many girls as guys that became firewalk instructors with me. The next training I'm going to, well, heck, even the one I went to, two of the instructors were female, and one was male. and now it was hosted by Kevin Axtell, and now I'm getting ready to go to their firewalk instructor training. Katrina and Carrie's firewalk instructor training, which is in Massachusetts.
All right. There you go, Phyllis. You can go to Massachusetts and try it out.
Feel free to come to one of mine as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
This night she's been known to make surprise appearances. And that's a good thing.
I love it. I love sharing this with people. In 2012, when I first walked across coals, I was enthralled, and I had signed up for the novelty factor. I was like, oh, hey, this is a thing, I'm going to do it. It's the same reason why I learned fire reading. This is a thing. Why not do it? And I went to the firewalk. They don't tell you anything about how to do how to set up firewalking. They tell you how to walk across the coals, which is just like you'd walk kind of across a hot parking lot during the summer, except not running. And then we did it, and I started asking my friend. He wasn't my friend at the time, but I asked the person who led it, Tom Thumb, how you become that, or how you get to be an instructor, and he said about $3,000 and a trip to California, which for me went, well, okay, thank you very much, and walked away thinking I'd never be able to learn it. And then every single time firewalking came up, when it was an opportunity I'd be able to do it, I took the opportunity, and I walked across coals about 5 times. And then the opportunity presented itself this year for me to go to a training about a half hour away from my house, and instead the cost was about $1,000. I went, if I don't do this now, this isn't going to be able to happen for me. And I made it happen. I got in at a discounted scholarship rate, and just made it happen. And I'm very pleased to be able to do it.
Yeah.
Yes, you use actual coals.
I was just looking at Phyllis asked again, is it a spiritual activity, or do you just consider it a sport?
That really depends on who's walking. I don't really tell somebody why to walk. For me, it's a bit of both, in all honesty. Like I said, I signed up for the novelty factor because I know people have walked across coals. There is somebody doing it. I trusted them, I think, and went, you know what, I'll do the thing. And I walked across the coals, and I was fine. I think I walked across them 2 times that day. And as I've been doing it since then, it's taken on a lot more meaning. But at that same time, my very first walk as well, I had somebody come up to me afterwards that hadn't walked across fire before. And this is somebody that, in their mind, they communed with their Godhead afterwards. So for them, it was a really deep and intensive spiritual experience. And I've seen it happen with both. It's up to the facilitator how they kind of want to lean it sometimes, but it is very much a non-denominational ceremony. It is something that, in essence, anybody can come and be a part of and take away what they want from it. And it is one of those things where you get what you put into it. So if you just want to go do the novelty and be like purely scientific about it and then do it, then you're like, okay, I did it. You're still walking across coals. There's still that mental aspect that you're going to have to overcome. But you can be that relaxed and methodical about it. Or it can be an extremely deep and spiritual experience. So.
Yeah. Just further up, I missed it before, but Eric Nantemico said, so the only sorts of practices by people who set up walks that is considered showboaty, or just plain uppity.
Once again, depends on the coach. Tony Robbins, yeah. We're basically empowerment coaches. Just about anybody who you meet who says they're a certified firewalk instructor has empowerment training. And just about all empowerment training is a little showboaty, because you have to give somebody this energy, this enthusiasm, or not give, but bring out, because they already have that energy and enthusiasm in them. You're just helping bring it out. So, and from an outside perspective, when you're not involved in it, yeah, it's showboaty. It's you have to be enthused and pumped, and yeah, you're walking across coals. If you're not jazzed, you're doing it. Something's wrong.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
unless you know you're walking across coals
suppose,
because your house is on fire, then you might not be so jazzed. But if you're out, it's not one of those, you know, hey buddy, hold my beer, watch this. It's it is very much one of those things where you want to be jazzed and you want to have everybody else jazzed. Because if you're not, you're going to be hesitant, and if you're hesitant, it raises the chance of getting a kiss. And that's pretty much what we call a small little burn. It's getting kissed by the fire. So, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. So.
There you go. You've got Ty. He's saying he might go.
I would love for you to come, Ty. Just let me know. I will get you a place in the house, or a place where you could set up a tent. So,
I reckon that demo guy would be into it as well. Eric. I reckon he'd give it a go.
You walked on a broken light bulb. Broken light bulb. Ouch. Speaking of which, I know how to run, facilitate, and participate in glass walking. So, I mean, if you would rather walk across broken glass instead of hot coals, I can do that for you
at least
too.
it's not hot.
No, but good God, that sound when you're walking across glass. Oh my.
Yeah,
It's one of those. We were taught from a very early age that the sound of breaking and crunching glass is a bad thing that needs to be avoided. And when you're walking across glass, that pressure from your feet is breaking that glass, and it sounds awful.
Yeah.
And this is coming from somebody that went, yeah, I want to learn how to walk across glass. This is going to be awesome. I get there and they set the glass down, or when I say set, they dropped about 50 pounds of glass from about 3 to 4 feet up, and then set it up, and then they start walking across it, and I hear that sound, and immediately just this physically, like...
Flinching?
Yeah, cinching sensation came over me, and I went, so...
Yeah.
This is going to be a lot harder than I thought, not because it's going to be any harder. I just, up here, just went, ugh.
Yeah, you're right, Ty. You're doing really well with the explanations, mate. You've had it so easy to like. Thank you, by the way. But yeah, now glass walking, man. I've seen that once, and you're right. You know that feeling you get when you're close to a cliff and you get jelly knees. That's what happened to me when I was watching the glass walking. I just like, nah. I got jelly knees, sat down, and yeah, it was like, I think, yeah, you're right. It's conditioned into us from an early age for a good reason, because we don't want to lacerate our feet.
Yeah,
but yeah,
exactly.
Doing it under those circumstances, I suppose, is different.
Yeah, well, it's very carefully set up, very carefully and meticulously set up. For me to set up a glass walk would take about 6 to 8 hours. Uh, to make one fresh, it would. So there's a lot of work that goes into it. Um, and like I said, people see glass walking on TV almost, you know, it's not an uncommon thing anymore. Or they see pictures of it, or they hear stories of it, but they don't tell you it's, how would I put it? They don't tell you the effect it has on you when you see it in person or when you do it. Even though you've seen it on TV and you've heard kind of the sounds, it doesn't have the same experience. It's in person. It is, uh, you know, very. It has a physical effect on you, an actual physical effect.
Definitely.
I mean, it's the same with firewalking or any of these other activities we facilitate. Uh, they are empowerment activities for a reason. Um, you can see it done 1,000 times. You can know how it's done, and then go to do it, and it's still going to have an impact. One of my favorite things is called arrow breaking, and this is where we take about a 24-inch target arrow. Well, 28-inch, my bad. Target arrow, and you take the point and you put it right at the clavicle gap, and then you put the fletching end up against a wall, and then using your throat, you break the arrow.
Yeah.
And
Just like the Buddhists do with their spears. Screw that.
Yep, just like that. And there's the person who trained me, Kevin. When he first went to go do it, he thought he had a defective arrow. There's no way you will not break this arrow if you give it your all, your 100. And he thought he had a defective arrow. So did Jonah. I know plenty of people who did. I broke my first arrow and then blacked out, except for like the last two people that broke theirs. Yeah, I don't remember anybody breaking their arrows except for the last two people. Now, if you take that by the same token, you can get rebar that's about 8 feet long, take two people, and both people put one into the rebar at their clavicle gap, and they both push together and bend the rebar using their throats. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, the arrows aren't sharp, but they'll still go through an apple. Don't kid yourself. An arrow's still an arrow. But you're right, the arrows aren't sharp, and there is math behind it, and I could explain the math, but I won't. And that's not the point. You can know the math and still go up to break your arrow and still not be able to.
Yeah.
I think Phyllis is warming up to you, Dale. I think Phyllis is warming up to you.
Awesome.
Actually, did I just read that you were walking across a frozen pond, Robert?
Oh, God.
Yes, and when you're talking about walking on breaking glass, I remember walking across this pond. I don't know how. I think I just found myself out because it was snowed over partly, and all of a sudden I'm on ice, and it's cracking.
Yay!
and I didn't want to be in that water, so.
No.
It took a little bit. It took a little while to get back.
Cordy, that arrow breaking, that was pioneered by Tully Burkhan and his wife, mainly his wife at the time. She had heard about it and went out to the rite of passage ceremony and learned about the arrow breaking, and then they brought that to the empowerment seminar. So there's at least 2 degrees of separation, maybe a little bit more, between me and you at this point. So, and it may be as simple as 2-degree separation, in all honesty. So, small world. Yes, that is a hula hoop. I do hula hoop.
It has a nail in it.
So.
That old joke, what's the definition of a neighbor destroyer? A hula hoop with a nail in it, sorry. Oh dear.
I prefer hula hoops with wicks sticking out of it, but you know.
Yeah, definitely. Actually, I prefer watching. There's a girl a woman on. She's quite famous for hooping, and man, she's really good. I can't remember her name. It's on YouTube. Look it up.
Depends on who it is. I may actually know them personally.
Oh right. Yeah, actually, there's one from Australia that's quite well known. I can't remember her name, and there's one that I've seen from the US that is really well known, and I can't remember her name because maybe like a steel trap, nothing gets in, nothing gets out. So,
Yeah, it happens.
yeah.
My personal favorite happens to be Brecken, but there are several really good hoopers. Most of the ones I like and know for the most part are a little lesser known. Some of the bigger, well-known ones, they're good and they look good while hooping, but their technical skill isn't the best necessarily. So, like Brecken's really well known and a great hooper, but her technical skill is there, so she's not one of the most well known unless you're in the hooping community. And then you say Brecken Riviera. If you've hooped for any amount of time and are into that life, then you know who she is. The other names I don't really know. I know Brecken personally, and I know Baxter personally, and Baxter runs Hoop Life. So,
That
Hoop
first one
Pat.
sounds familiar.
Brecken, she is, she's known almost for her messy style, even though she is trained in, is a trained dancer. She was very self-conscious when she started out about how she would look hooping, and her breakthrough happened when she stopped caring what she would look like.
Righty-o.
So, I don't have any of my other toys close to me except for my juggling balls. I do have fire-eating torches and things. Maybe sometime I'll have it set up in such a way that if I'm on the show, I can fire eat. But fire eating indoors at this point is not an acceptable risk. So
Not really, no.
although
But it would be
fire
cool
eating
to see.
indoors is a thing and it is safe and it is highly controlled, it's not a thing I'd be able to do or facilitate at this point in time. So
Well, is it that time yet, Robert?
Yeah, it sort of is. So we can fade out. I'll just finish my comment here.
okay.
Certainly. Yeah, I was just reading them, mate. That's a bit of a worry.
Yeah.
Swords
demo.
following. Sorry.
It's something I don't know how to do at the moment, but I have wanted to learn. With stuff like that, with any of these things, including firewalking, you want to learn and participate underneath the guise of a trained professional. Granted, that's not going to. What it does is it's not going to get rid of your risks, but it's going to minimize them. And when you're doing anything that has any real risk factor at all, you want to be there with a trained professional or learn from a trained professional. This isn't necessarily stuff you go out to your backyard and wing it. You want to learn from the people that have come before you, because I can guarantee you they've made more mistakes, and you want to learn from other people's mistakes as much as possible with any of it. because it's dangerous. Granted, life is dangerous. There's no way to remove risk from your life, even just sitting inside and never leaving the house. Your house could burn down. There is always going to be risk involved in life.
Well,
And it's learning how to minimize your risk and overcoming the fear from taking those risks. So,
yeah, definitely. Ah, well,
Now, on that note, we can sort of head into the after show. And anybody in the chat that wants a link, I'm posting a link right in the chat that you can click on, but some people prefer it in Facebook. So let me know if you
thanks.
want to
Oh, sorry.
I'm going to
No, I
put
was
it
just
on
going to say
Facebook
thanks
page
to
too.
you. Yeah. And Facebook, yes, of course.
Oh,
I'm
so
just-
there was one more question, Dale.
Oh, was it?
sorry.
Gabriel wanted to know, and Gabriel's right here to ask, has anyone actually used coal for a firewalk?
Oh yeah, it is burnt down to coals.
No,
So
I mean like coal that you mine from the ground, that kind of coal.
That I can't tell you. There may have been somebody. If I had enough of it, that I could go out there and I would use a pyrometer, a infrared thermometer, and check the temps, and find out about it and what its properties are. And if I thought it was safe to walk across, I would. But it'd probably feel like you were walking across really freaking hot gravel. I'm sure, depending on its burn time and how long it's sitting there in red hot, you could walk across it, but I bet you it would be sitting there as a coal for a while before it got to acceptable temperatures. So it's very tense and has a lot of energy packed in there, and by having it red hot or on fire, you're releasing that energy. So it's just a matter of when it'd be okay. There was a point in time where nobody would walk across hardwood, and then my instructor was kind of the one who pioneered being able to walk on hardwoods and your fruit woods, because it can be done. It's just treated different, and I'm sure that actual coal would be pretty much the same. It's just a matter of how you treat it and how you treat the fire. So there's a lot of work and care that is done with this, and it's getting it all a consistent size and stuff like that. There'd be a lot of stuff that would have to be factored in to it that would need approach from that way. But Gabe, I've got you on Facebook. I may ask a couple of questions of other people in the community who've been firewalking a lot longer than I have, and see if they have ever heard of anybody doing it. So it is a good question.
Mm.
I know, I try.
Oh, Phyllis, you just
Walking-
like hardwood.
Hey Phyllis, walking across hardwood is hot.
Oh yeah. On that note, we should go into the after show. So if anybody
Thanks
wants
for
to
watching, people.
yeah, thank you for watching. We'll see you next week. Simon should be here. Dean might even be here. And a mystery guest. One never knows.
Mystery, because we don't even know.
That's right. We don't even know until usually Saturday morning. Anyways, bye for now.
BBF.